What's going on, guys? Happy Black History Month. It's Mr. DEBT Joe Lorick from the Money Etiquette Group, here to talk about Cory Booker and his announcement that he will be running for president in 2020. Now, what does this mean? Why did I want to talk about Cory Booker? Well, Cory Booker positioned himself based on his rollout of, look, I'm going to announce on Black History Month, similar to what Kamala did, but you know what, Martin Luther King Day, but he chose a historical Black Day to announce his run for presidency. So what that implies to me, and looking at his video and what he's saying, what it implies to me is that he does want the black vote. I am a part of that black vote. So I want to talk about him really quick from that perspective. I want to know a few things about Cory Booker and what his agenda is. I've looked into his background some. I've been following him for some time now. I know he's been positioned to move up in the party. And honestly, before I go through everything, I think he actually will make a better vice presidential candidate in this race as opposed to being the lead as a presidential candidate. Just my opinion, but I'll get into timing and why I believe that later. But nevertheless, let's look at Cory Booker. Okay, Cory Booker, we know that he is a Black African-American descendant of a slave. I'm saying that because of people questioning the background of Kamala, who was born of a Jamaican father and an Indian, as from India, mother. So she doesn't necessarily identify as Black. She identifies as a colored woman or a woman of color, which she is. Cory Booker, on the other hand, identifies as a Black man and a descendant of slavery, and he rightfully does so. We all know that he did most of his work in New Jersey, and as mayor and then as senator. And a big criticism of him is his relationship with Wall Street. And we'll get into that, too. But that's not the biggest issue I want to talk about right now. He also apparently lives in a low income area in New Jersey. Still does that to prove a point that it's not about moving away. It's about addressing things on the ground issue. Though, don't get me wrong, he's taken care of even within that community. But it's just a point that he's trying to, show that he's the regular guy. He's a person that came up a certain way, and he believes in remembering where you came from and addressing things at every level so that everybody can benefit. But let's get into him as a candidate that wants the black vote, that's courting the black vote in particular. I'm not saying he's not courting other votes, but he's running. You don't announce on February 1st, the first day of Black History Month, for nothing. Just like Kamala didn't choose Martin Luther King's birthday for no reason. Okay, it's positioning. They're doing this on purpose. But let's get into him. Cory Booker. Has he said or announced policy-wise how he intends to help the Black community specifically? A lot of candidates say that I'm for all people, and it's not that you shouldn't be for all people, but when you do run as the candidate that wants to court the Black vote, we need to know, and we want to know now, what it is that you're going to do for the Black community. We want to know what legislative changes are you going to implement, and even executive changes are you going to implement when it comes to our judicial system, and also just dealing with Black male incarceration rates. We all know that Black people do not commit more crimes than any other people. Okay, we all break the law. Whether it's small laws from speeding to, big laws, no matter what, we do that. But in terms of incarceration, Black people are targeted and also arrested more than anyone else, and also are wrongly put in prisons, as we're seeing more and more today, how people are getting out because they were falsely charged and with crimes they didn't commit. They're more likely to be falsely charged with a crime than any other people. So we want to know, what are you going to do about that? What are your plans to address that? And not just, look, I'm going to know what cases are you going to review? And speaking to that, does this mean that you're going to be a candidate also that pursues on a federal level legalizing marijuana? I ask that because some of that ties into Black male incarceration. If you're going to legalize and going to be a candidate, if he's going to be the guy that's going to say, I'm going to go for legalizing marijuana on a federal level, I also need to hear that people who have been sentenced for nonviolent crimes in reference to marijuana, they need to be let out of prison. period. I'm not speaking about someone that's killed someone or, someone that harmed someone. I'm speaking about simply selling, buying, the simple act of holding what's considered a federal narcotic, marijuana. So I want to hear that from Cory Booker. I haven't heard anything on that. I want to hear, what is he going to do in terms of fighting gentrification in our cities? We're seeing we're seeing an increased rate of gentrification in a lot of cities, and we're also seeing the reduction in when it comes to cities that are majority black or people who identify as black racial makeup. I want to know what his plans are to address that. Okay, I want to know if he's going to speak in any way about gentrification, because there's one thing about, and if you look at his record, okay, he is all about pulling outside money to help with local communities, because when he, was the mayor and certainly senator in New Jersey, if you look at his record and look at what he's done, he has looked for ways to pull in money into the city that could potentially benefit everyone, but at what price? They say, and this is where the criticism comes in with him when it comes to working with Wall Street, Big Farm, and, just getting a lot of money towards his candidacy for business people. What we don't know is how chummy are you and how loyal are you to Big Farm and business and Wall Street versus the people. What type of leverage do you have? Does Big Farm own Cory Booker? Does Wall Street own Cory Booker? Or is Cory Booker a person that hasn't been leveraged by these big companies so he can actually make moves? And again, are you going to work specifically to assist black Americans? Okay, and what are you going to do? What are you going to do with the public school system? I know that he's a person that's in favor of charter schools, but we want to know about school reforms and teachers and supporting teachers. What are you going to do in that realm? We need to know these type of pieces of information, because education is also something that has been vastly different when it comes to black communities and other communities and the quality of education in schools. So we want to know, what are you going to do on a federal level? We want to know what he's going to do. Also, something that maybe it's not spoken about a lot, and this is why I'm getting to the point where I'm talking about why I believe he's a better number 2 than the number 1. Right now, if you look at the environment that we're in, you look at the movements that are going on, when it comes to the topic, and I hate to use this phrase, but of toxic masculinity, when you look at Cory Booker, what I wonder is, will something come out from his past that points to him being a person that's toxic masculine, that has or could have been considered someone that's toxic, someone that has displayed toxic masculinity. If you don't know, Cory Booker was a star athlete in high school as a tight end. He played football at Stanford. And I'm not trying to say that just because of that, he displayed that way, but we know if you've ever played football, especially during the 80s or the 90s, you understand the culture of football and sports and teams, and you understand that locker room culture, team culture can sometimes, if you look back at it now, some of that behavior was irresponsible. And right now, while that's such a big movement, I wonder, and this is just me wondering, you guys can let me know if this is the case or not, but I wonder if Cory Booker is going to have something come out from his past that puts him in the group of men that are considered toxic masculines, or that has displayed toxic masculinity. I'm curious, because that matters. And I think we likely will, and it's not because I have something against Cory Booker. It's more, I just understand that culture, of being an athlete. So I feel like timing-wise, things might come back to bite him, which would keep him from being a viable candidate. See, because I think you can get over relationships with Wall Street and billionaires. I mean, look at the current president. I think you can get over that. I think Cory Booker is a very good speaker. I think that he could convey a message that sounds great to a lot of people. I think he has a great personality, but I don't know if he's a great candidate for the top of a ticket right now. just with the environment. I wonder if he's going to do that. But regardless, my support is not behind Cory Booker or any candidate at this point. I want to hear, just like from Kamala, I want to hear if you're going to run as the representative of the black community, if you're going to run as a advocate of the black community, I want to know what you're going to do. I mean, you guys let me know what you think. Do you think Cory Booker's going to have a shot at winning the presidency? Do you think he's a good candidate? Do you think he's a real advocate for black people and all people? I mean, let me know what you guys think, because I don't know everything. I'm going to be researching and finding out more, but I'm curious to know what you guys think. Let me know.